What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. It's the Nerd Den. Welcome. We're just talking about Kanye and his teeth. Would you guys do this? Ramel, if you had 850K, would you do this? Would you put tinfoil over your teeth?
Well, I got two words. First one rhymes with fuck, and the other one rhymes with no.
I don't know, man. Like, I respect it, I guess, but it doesn't. I mean, maybe the picture is.
I'm sorry, you what?
Huh?
What aspect? What aspect in what universe is this respected?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It's permanent.
Boundaries, baby.
It's just nuts. But it's like,
okay,
boundaries nobody even knew existed.
So hold on, Todd. Serious. I want you to make a list of 50 things that you would do if you had $850,000. Please. And if that includes spending that much on some teeth, I will send you some professional help.
Okay, fair enough.
100%.
Get titanium nipple implants and a
Oh, God damn.
and a cradle for my sack.
Titanium sack. But like, I guess my question is like it doesn't even look. I mean, is it just maybe it's the photograph, but it doesn't look good. Like it genuinely looks all dented and fucked up, as opposed to.
I think he has something covering them, maybe.
Maybe because like the 3D shot down here, I'm assuming this is 3D. I don't know if this is like the real thing, but that looks kind of interesting. You know, but like. If you look at it, like it looks all beat up and dented. It literally looks like someone put like fucking tinfoil over his teeth. It's so stupid.
Dude, you could win. You could like be the master of like the drunk bet. Like I bet you can't eat that thing. You know, like in cartoons when like the bad guy would eat like the beer bottle and like the glass.
Oh yeah, he totally could chomp it down now.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Like drink all the beer out of like a can.
Yeah. And
like
then
by biting through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He lost his fucking mind.
Like he was coming up and he was young and hungry. He was one hell of a performer. I mean that the video he did with Jamie Foxx for Gold Digger. I mean that's just that's an earworm right there.
Yeah.
I think one video that kind of stood out to me was the one he did Stronger, where he took a direct influence from the movie Akira.
Yep.
That stood out the most to me. Is creative, but just to see that in mainstream was really big for me, at least.
Yeah, his stuff like no doubt, like Heartbreak and 808s was a great album. Like there's a lot of work that he's done that was super good. So the talent is never in doubt, man. Like he's super gifted, but like fuck, bro, like stay on your meds, man. Like legit, like just get some help, bro. You need it. You know what I mean? Like there's so much celebrity god complex out there that it's just like holy shit, man. You know, maybe I don't know. I watched the entire Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp, and did you see this? Have you guys seen this at all? Anyone watch this?
I saw a good portion of it, but I could not stay tuned to it for 3 hours.
Oh, I watched the whole. Well, I watched. It took me a few days, and I just had it on while I was working. But like, I mean, I don't really care about Shannon Sharp, and I don't really care about Cat Williams, but it was a fucking awesome interview, and like, he just tears people up. And I'm just like, maybe Kanye is ripping out his teeth and putting in titanium ones and shit like that. And I'm like, well, maybe that's the whole P Diddy thing kind of flowing out somehow. You know what I mean? Like,
Hollywood is definitely a ritual. I can't say what it is, but when people get exposed to Hollywood, it does change them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it fucks him up, man. It fucks him up for real. That's some crazy shit. 850,000. Yeah, I don't think no amount of money. Like there's no point to that. There's so many more things you could do. You know.
No, you're talking about like P Diddy. I mean, you talk to people who were in the New York rap scene back in the '90s. They got nothing good to say about him.
Apparently, nobody has anything good to say about him. There's some real like
Weird.
because I watched that Cat Williams thing. Like my YouTube feed is all like I don't know, the People magazine version of YouTube, where it's like, you know, this week so and so came out against P Diddy with all the evidence. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right.
I don't know what's going on with my YouTube feed. Like I watched like one clip of like Modern Family, and all of a sudden it's like every other video is like a clip of Modern Family or other like mid-aughts sitcoms. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of clips from like Suits. I've never seen an episode of Suits in my entire life.
Suits?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it's like all of a sudden it's like I got clips of Meghan Markle during interacting days, and I'm wondering why is YouTube feeding me stuff about a show on USA that I never watched?
Didn't it just recently get released on Netflix? Like the whole seasons?
Yeah, apparently it's like really popular on Netflix now. Go figure.
I don't know if I know Suits.
It was like one of a bunch of shows that USA put out like in the last decade. You know, like White Collar, Suits, a few others. Burn Notice, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I remember Burn Notice. That was a pretty good show.
I never saw it, but that's what I heard. It's most notable nowadays for being Meghan Markle's biggest acting credit before her current gig.
Wait, I thought she was in that show about lawyers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, is that still on? Suits? Suits that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, Burn Notice. That was the one about the CIA ops that got.
Yeah,
they were on the lam kind of thing all the time. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah,
he got I think his real identity got burned or whatever.
Yeah.
And he couldn't operate covertly anymore, so
yeah.
And the best part of it is that Bruce Campbell was in it.
Bruce Campbell's on awesome. What's up, MK? Welcome.
Basically playing Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell playing Bruce Campbell is the best Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, real quick, if anybody has time just to binge on a show, I highly recommend the one show called Captain Fall. Anybody ever heard of it?
What's it called? I'll look it up. What's it called?
It's called Captain Fall.
I have heard
it's animated.
Yeah.
And it's basically like when we sit around and we come up with these outlandish stories.
Yeah.
That is actually a series.
Nice.
Really? That's interesting.
Oh, but the sea captain thing. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, where he goes on a boat, but the boat is run by a crime syndicate.
Nice.
In almost every episode, there's somebody covered in blood.
That sounds good.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, so Todd, I got
a mark of excellence.
So I got 3 stories to tell you. You guys might find interesting.
Go for it.
2 more funny. One of them not so much. One of them just kind of Anyway, so story number 1. There was a writer in Japan who just won like a prestigious literary award. Her name is Rie Kudan. And it turns out that about 5% of her novel was completed using ChatGPT.
Oh, was that good or thing or bad thing?
Apparently the novel it was apparently she has no apologies. So it's
you should give no fucks. Like if it helps, you know.
And the second thing this is the funny thing about this is the second funny thing about AI. Apparently, there's a UK company that has created a busty blonde AI model to communicate with lonely, lovelorn men. I'm reading this directly from the Post, and she's already bringing in like close to $30K a month. Her name is Lexi Love. $30K a month. Guys,
Yeah.
we're in the wrong fucking business.
Oh no, I very much considered becoming an e-thought.
And story number 3, and this is
You
nothing.
definitely should not.
I could.
But it is Kanye. But it is like kind of Kanye. You know, we're talking about Kanye and Nazis, so this is funny. Rapper who lost half his skull in Nazi gold drug lab explosion, possibly facing prison. Apparently, there's a German rapper who like basically blew off half his head, cooking up some sort of synthetic drug called cooking up some sort of hash oil called Nazi gold.
Mm-hmm.
Name is Dr. Narf. Gotta love those European rappers.
Dr. Narf.
Dr. Narf.
Love it.
I'll shoot you the link as soon as I can find it. But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know if the world's getting dumber, but it's I don't know if the world's getting dumber, but it is definitely getting more entertaining. Anyway.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's the end of the world, so you might as well like date AI robots and like I don't know, make dope comics or something.
Yeah. So
Robo Booty.
Well, the thing about it is that I've been working on my own like AI writing thing. I told you about that last week. So in the roughly 7 days since then, I've written about 14 I've actually generated about 14 chapters out of a 21 chapter novel. So close to like 60,000 words at this point.
Wow.
You know, this is incredible, man. I mean, you can literally, you plot it out and it'll generate text for you. Now, downside, of course, is that what the AI generates is pretty bad. So if anyone thinking that you can just like plug in parameters into plug in a few words and it'll generate like a bestseller for you, no, you really got to do the work. But it really does reduce the amount, because like the biggest step when it comes to actually writing something is always the first draft.
Mm-hmm.
And then but the thing is editing is what makes a novel, really. So it just eliminates like I don't know, maybe like 40-50% of the work right there, maybe even more. And then you can just like go in there and just start replacing stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's the future. One of the things that gets me excited about it is that like if you're a professional and you already have your style or you already know what you want or know what you like, it's just going to increase your output. If you're new, then like you get the opportunity to do what you always wanted to do. So I don't really see a problem with it, and honestly, like I also one of the things that excites me is that I think, at least from an artistic perspective, if you're looking at AI or thinking about that, like the number one problem that to me as an artist, like that artists have is if you're drawing a comic or a book or a painter, it doesn't really matter what visual medium you're in. At some point, your faculties start to fade, right? Like you just don't want to draw that page when do you really want to draw like a 30-page book when you're 78 years old? Like, fuck no. And you probably can't see and your hand shakes a little or you don't have the same skill, right? It just fades out. And I think that we now have, with the invention of AI, like right now, if you took an AI and you just started to train it on your style and you just did that for a couple of years, like as you grow and as you do your shit, like you'll be able to, when you're 80 years old, render out shots like you were at your peak. And, you could either keep it like that or trace over your own work. It's your style. So there's no harm in it. And like, I think the quality extension for creatives, no one's talking about that yet because everyone's young and they're all like, oh, this is evil and we're going to ruin it. It's hand drawn, no AI. And you're like, well, like I said, I think the argument's silly. I was here when they said the same thing about Photoshop and Flash animation and 3D animation and all that. Like, get out of here with that.
Well, I never thought of it a way like to preserve your output and artistic. Do you follow Brian Ramel on Twitter? Just a lot of AI content. He's got this project where it's like 1,000 questions, and the idea with that is to preserve your knowledge and to ultimately create a database of knowledge based on people's knowledge. So there's 1,000 questions you're supposed to answer at length or whatever into like a voice recorder is the idea. And then that gets transcribed or transcripted and then uploaded into the thing. And then so now like my great grandchildren can go ask, Grandpappy Doc what he did on his Friday nights, and they'll be like hanging out with these idiots.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I mean like I said though, I mean now with the technology it's at the state where it's you still got to put the work in. I mean, and it really in preparation is like 9/10 of it right now. You really got to like well, at least with the AI I use just pseudo right. I'm realizing more and more that you really got to put in as many details as you can. So the problem I'm having with this novel right now is I don't think I put in enough. So like a lot of the stuff that's coming out is really, really trite. And I can already see that I'm gonna have to like chop about a third of it out and replace it with my own stuff. But even so, I think at this rate, one full length novel a month is certainly doable. And if you're into indie writing, which is what I am, that's really what you have to be doing now to like compete. Because like the big problem with the biggest problem hasn't changed. It's not the writing that's the problem; it's the marketing. You can write the greatest book in the world, the greatest comic book in the world, but if no one knows about it, it's not going to do you any good.
True. Can we write a trashy romance novel in the adult fantasy universe?
Sure.
With like a big buxom subdued romance.
Did you guys ever hear the story of? Did you ever hear the story of Naked Comes a Stranger?
What?
Naked Comes a Stranger.
No, it sounds intriguing though.
Sounds like someone I want to meet.
Well, back in the 70s, like there was a big boom in like really kind of like trashy airport novels like Valley of the Dolls, or pretty much anything ever written by Daniel Steele. So basically a bunch of like writers for the New York Post who were really, really bored. They decided to show just how easy it was to write a bet. They said they made themselves a bet. They were going to write a trashy novel and make it a bestseller. But they did it so like every single they agreed on a basic plot outline, but then every single writer, there's like 17 of them, wrote a chapter on his own without any contact with the others, and just loaded it down with as much sex and like TNA as possible. And they faked up like a fake writer, and I think one of them got it. It was like they made it faked up a female writer and one of them got his like a sister-in-law to pretend to be the writer, and it was a bestseller.
Sounds hot. Let's do it.
And, MK says, "Did you just ask to write an adult fantasy in the adult fantasy universe?" So meta.
So
yes, I did.
So a few years later, a bunch of writers in Florida decided to do the same thing. They were basically like trying to go after self-publishing scams.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote an anthology novel and they called it "Naked Comes the Manatee." And I'll
even hotter.
That was actually my biography from my high school years. So
yeah, just so you know, manatees are real sweethearts, but they also poop a lot.
Some hot and salty sea cow action.
Oh, I saw that actually. I was actually last year. I was at the beach in Ponce Inlet, and all of a sudden I noticed I was swimming in the water. I come out. I noticed that there's this big dark mass coming towards us. I thought it was seaweed. It was 4 or 5 manatees like having like naked manatee orgy sex, like 3 feet from the shoreline.
Did you comment?
Zach, can you describe this in more detail, please?
I'm glad he said it, I didn't, but go ahead.
Okay, so
how frothy was the sea that day?
Can you express it like you were in a Jane Austen novel, please?
No.
Yeah, like who was on top? Was there a reach around involved or what?
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean,
I noticed nobody's been kicked yet this evening.
I don't know, man.
I knew it.
But I'm fairly certain. Like,
oh, he laughed.
I'm fairly certain though that Barry White and Al Green were playing somewhere in the background.
Very white.
Oh, dude, that'd be hot.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of like very obese marine mammals, twisting and turning over each other, frothing up the water.
Right.
Basically, ladies night at a cut rate strip club here in Daytona.
Wow.
Where your favorite grandpa biker and his and all his cronies come in to like unwind, and then maybe one of them has one beer too many, and clothes start coming off, and fat rolls start jiggling out, and grease like
Oh man.
Because if you want, I can start using graphic descriptions of various body parts and slot A going into tab B repeatedly.
No.
But slot A in the tab, yeah.
Or tabs or slot A into tab C, depending on how you or tab D or tab F, or all various tabs at once.
Really?
I actually have some comic-related news to talk about. If anybody wants to talk about that?
Yeah,
it's gonna have to take a back seat to this manatee love making.
Well, guys, on the plus side, I think Bill Belichick might have found himself a new gig. So
they don't know who he is.
Was he one of the manatees? I don't understand.
Yeah, actually was. On the off season, he morphs into a manatee and has hot manatee sex in an inlet in Central Florida.
So, my question of interest, manatees, do they have any size to them, like any girth?
What the fuck do you mean you have interest in this conversation?
All right, guys. So, Drew, you got you have some comic book news?
Yeah, tell us.
I just wanted to read this headline from the Mary Sue. This is just the first thing that popped up. Comic-Con International has officially opened voting for this year's Will Eisner Comic Industry Awards, one of the biggest honors in the business. Unfortunately, the comic journalists and comic-focused publications, this year's ballot doesn't include the comic-related periodical or journalist category. They're cutting it out of the awards. They're not giving an award for journalism in comics anymore, or at least not this year.
Comic Gate strikes again, maybe.
Well,
the funny part, the next line in the article, the title of the piece is Comic Journalist Dead? The Eisners seem to think so. And the next line the next line in the article says, this decision sparked a lot of controversy on social media last week with creators like David Pepose and John Truble, I have no idea who these people are, decrying it, and others claiming that it's a sign that comics are dying. We've heard the latter for years, usually from those in the Comicsgate hate movement, whose primary goal seems to be targeting diverse comic creators whose work goes beyond telling stories about white heterosexual male superheroes. Way to prove, once again, the Mary Sue is completely one-sided and not journalism.
Well, Mary Sue is Mary Sue, but
thank God nobody's giving them an award. So
it also never made a lot of. Well, I mean, honestly though, like I love the Eisners. Regardless of where it stands now and what it does now, but like, I think what's so interesting is that back in the day, like comics journalism was like a thing. Like the comic, I still have a couple. Let me see. I'll show you. Like, let me see if I can find. I think I have one like right here. like back in the day. Yeah, like here's one, like the Comics Journal. Like, look how thick this magazine is, right? And look at that. You've got C.C. Beck, John Buscema, Gil Kane on hacking, right? Like this was actually like legitimately great interviews and information and like journalism. Like, look how thick that is, like actual interviews and stuff. And so like I have a bunch of them because they were like here's comic book artists, the interviews with Art Adams, right?
Yep, I have that signed by Art Adams.
And I mean, again, like that's not like, look, that is not a small little article. Like that's a whole freaking like dissertation, right? And so they used to do it, and now it's just like, you know, they don't interview anything anymore. They don't really talk about stuff anymore. And so it's like, well, if you're not going to talk about it, and you're not going to, if you're not going to talk about it, and you're not going to write about it, why would we have a category to award you for it?
Well, most comic journalism nowadays is puff pieces about how great the industry is doing,
right? And
completely ignores what's really going on. So,
you know, I was like,
maybe it's a good idea not to award those people for their bad writing.
Look at that. Tough questions, tough answers. Frank Miller. Look at that. He's snapping some critic's neck.
You can still like buy back issues of Wizard at a lot of like, you know, comic book stores around.
Yeah, you can at my store.
Way to plug your store, Andrew.
Good job, Andrew.
Yeah.
Hey,
located after blah 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 blah.
So I made a trade this past weekend, some CGC books for some more CGC books. I traded 3 for 5, and I was very happy with what I got, including that long shot #1 signed by Art Adams,
which is pretty crazy, by the way.
One of the books he offered me, and I turned him down. I told him the reason why I could not take this book is because I had friends that would immediately see it and want to buy it from me, which meant I'd have to cut them a deal because they're my friends.
And that would be terrible.
I wouldn't make any money off of it.
Wow.
Yeah, you want to know what it was?
Sure. What did you turn down and avoid and not give to your friends?
It was Batman Year 1, Issue 1, signed by Frank Miller.
Bro, what?
Oh, heck, you should have bought that.
Why would you turn that down, you dunce?
I took the Art Adams for myself.
You could have. You have people on this call that would have paid you for that book.
I know.
I know you're talking about me or like Avery at least.
You know you have enemies right now. That's a definite way to turn friends into enemies.
Well, it's one that he wanted more than I was willing to trade for because I knew I would end up selling it to one of you guys for a lot less than I could have made.
Well, now you might end up turning up missing.
I'm sorry. Hey, Ramel. I'm sorry, sir. I can't buy this from you. I already have people that would want to buy it from me, and I can't allow that to happen.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what happened. That was the conversation completely.
My customers would really love to own this. I can't buy it from you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. I told him it would become a Christmas gift or a birthday gift to somebody, and I would lose money. So I said it couldn't happen.
Wow. Way to look at Christmas or Hanukkah there, friend.
Oh, fuck Hanukkah. Didn't even think about that.
Or Kwanzaa.
Or Kwanzaa.
So, do you guys want to see the other books that I got?
Of course. Hold on. Let me pin you so you can.
Actually, I did get a couple of things in the mail, so I can show you as well. But this, of course, is the aforementioned long shot #1. Now, the copy that I had was an 8.5, so this is a much better copy. This is a 9.0, but it's also signed and verified. It's got the gold label or the yellow label or whatever, but this means that I can take the 8.5 and make it available in my store now that I have the 9.0 to replace it. Matter of fact, boop, there it is. Go into the store this week.
You're going to sell that one.
I'll sell this one now. Yep. So there's a couple of books that I got. These were ones I recently picked up, including. I don't know why I like this issue, but I got another copy.
By the way, really quick, I'm just gonna interrupt. Just because I'm looking at it, we were talking about like journalism and the interview stuff. The comic journal that I showed that has the Frank Miller interview in it.
Yeah.
Guess how many pages the interview is?
50.
36.
Nice.
36 pages. Like, no, yeah, 40. No, sorry, 46. 46 pages. You're
So I was close. I was close. Yeah.
46 pages. That, my friend, is journalism. That deserves an award, not, who's, the one blog post you did. Anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
This is G.I. Joe Master and Apprentice #1 from Devil Dew. I have a copy in the store already. I think it's an 8.0, but this is a 9.4, which is kind of cool.
Josh Blaylock represent.
Yep.
I was gonna say, yeah.
He's a friend. Josh is a friend of AF. So
this is one I got just because I think it's gorgeous. This is
that's so nice.
This is full color number 1050. Can you imagine a comic going for 1050 issues back in 1959?
Wow.
That's what this is from. This is a
that looks so good too.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah, 4-color was one of those ones where every month it was something different. And just had a really great Huckleberry Hound cover, and it was a 7.0, which is a off-white to white pages. I mean, just looks.
Oh, so it wasn't Huckleberry Hound at 1,000 issues. It was they featured a different character every time.
4-color was the name of the comic.
4-color. I like that. That's a great.
And then this is the one that I showed you guys last week. This is Power Man number 48 from 1977. It's a 9.4 copy. This is the first team up of Power Man and Iron Fist.
Look how good that logo is, man. God,
I know.
so
I want to read to you what Power Man Luke Cage is saying on the cover. You got some bad moves, ballet britches, but kung fu kicks and a flaming fist won't stop me from bringing this building down on your head.
That sounds so Stanley.
Jive turkey.
Bad moves, ballet britches.
Ballet britches. I'm gonna call one of my daughters that tomorrow and see what happens.
You need to have an AF
Bad
character
move,
named Ballet
britches.
Britches.
True.
I called the kids Crumb Crunchers today, and Dusty looked at me with like a cocked head, like you never
Hey,
heard of him.
Drew, quick question.
Yeah.
So, when Kirby left Marvel, he created a character and went to DC. He created the Funky Flashman. Remember what comic that guy shows up in?
Funky Flashman?
Yeah,
Flashman?
He was basically a giant piss take on Stan Lee. Because they had kind of a falling out after that.
Have no idea. No idea, to be honest with you.
Never mind then.
Okay. I'm sure you can Google it.
Kind of got my hands full at the moment.
We'll put the cat down and hit the keyboard.
I can't do that. He's just so freaking adorable.
So one of the things I traded the guy for, he had a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 135, which is the second appearance of Punisher. His copy was a 6.0, and mine was a 7.5. So he kind of upgraded from the 6.0 to the 7.5. But I still got more stuff out of the deal. But I still have a copy of this book. 6.0 still nice for the the second appearance of the Punisher.
I still think like those books. Look at that title, those colors. Like, how can you not pick that book up if you see it on the stands?
Oh yeah. This is one that I have a copy of the book, but I have the Art Adams variant. This is Strange Academy number 1. This was a really popular book when it first came out. It's a 9.6 copy, so it's a real nice looking copy. It's the first appearance of a lot of different characters. And there were rumors of it becoming a Disney show, so it might happen. Who knows?
You can tell it's a modern comic because of the size of the number 1 and the upper
Yeah,
corner.
I know. But this is Scotty Young writing it and Humberto Ramos on art.
Oh shit! Okay, well that's a good.
So,
That's a great combo.
Yeah. I mean, just that alone.
Humberto is a genuinely nice guy. Like, I got to meet him a couple times and talk to him a few times, and like, he's a genuinely good dude. Like that guy's really nice.
These 2 issues are key issues that have a modern, recent reason for being key issues, but they're also kind of in demand right now. But this is Daredevil number 9 from the Marvel Knights run.
Yeah.
This is the where David Mack took over writing after Kevin Smith.
Mhm.
But this is the first appearance of Maya Lopez, Echo. This is her first appearance. It's a 9.6 copy, so it's a real nice looking copy.
Cool.
And then the other
was Quesada still drawing the book?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Daredevil run with Quesada drawing the book was so good.
Oh yeah. And this is issue number 10 of the same series. This is the origin of Echo. Was in this issue. Her connection to the Kingpin and so forth.
She was way cool in the comic.
Yep.
The
wife and I
watched all the episodes, right? What did you think?
We just finished watching them. Matter of fact, last night we watched the last 2 episodes last night, and overall, I liked the series. I liked the character. I liked the actress who played her. My distaste for the show had more to do with the fact that when people were signing, there were no subtitles in some areas, so you didn't know what the hell they were saying.
Okay.
And the thing that I thought was really weird, and I don't know if this is part of the character or if it was the actress or what, but in the book or in the show, she doesn't read lips. She doesn't know how to read lips. So when people are talking to her, they're either signing or she has no idea what they're saying.
Right, which doesn't make a lot of sense for the character.
Yeah, especially she's 20 some odd years old. You'd think she would have learned how to read lips by now. But one of the cool things is there's one of the episodes.
Also she's like, at least in the comics, she's got like the like she has the ability to mimic superpowers.
Yes.
So
well, they kind of gave her
people who don't read lips, but if your superpower is like being able to mimic things, and if you can mimic like complex Daredevil jumps and twists and kicks and shit, you probably can read lips. Is all I'm saying. So.
Yeah. Well, in the show, the Kingpin gives her something, gives her a lens, puts it right in her eye, like a contact lens. Yes, which when she's looking at him and he's talking, there's she sees digital arms signing what he's saying, and it's kind of cool. And then he has an earpiece that translates her sign language into words for him, so that they can.
Why wouldn't it just, instead of like arms that are signing, why wouldn't it just give you like give her subtitles so she can read what he's saying?
Why don't you just text her? I know he has a phone.
Yeah, well, there's texting involved in it. But the thing is when I saw that, I'm thinking that would be really cool if that was real technology, if that was something that was really being developed and being able to be used by people.
They do. It's just like right now you have to put a headset on, and it usually has something to do with pornography.
Anyway, I liked the show, but there were some parts of it where it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Like she goes to a roller rink, and she gets knocked out by a crackhead and 2 country whores, and it's like, this lady is like an assassin who will take down 30 men without breaking a sweat, and 2 hillbilly chicks and a crackhead knock her out and tie her up. It's like, doesn't make any sense. But and in this they kind of give her superpowers, which really was stupid. But that's all right. We still enjoyed it, even though there were still silly things about it. It's Disney.
So not the worst, but not the best.
No, I'd rewatch
crack once.
Yeah, I'd rewatch pretty much all of Daredevil, all of Iron Fist, all of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders before I watch this season again.
Okay.
because they were all much better.
Yeah,
But they were Netflix shows and not even The Punisher. They were all Netflix shows and not Disney shows. Where this one had the violence, and it had it had some of that excitement to it, but it was still Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're not, I don't think they're part of the same continuity anymore.
Well, I think they've indicated that they plan to keep it within the same continuity. So
Really?
Mhm.
All right.
But because I've heard rumors that they're bringing what's his name back as the Punisher. They're going to do another series, but I think it's going to be on Disney.
I really hope. I really hope they don't do to him due to the Punisher in the show or what they did to him in the comics, because that would just be a heartbreaker.
Oh yeah, well,
Joel, what's up, Joel? How are you doing? He says no sound. We got sound. Pretty sure we got sound. We can hear you.
So you're talking about they're talking about bringing back John Bernthal.
yes.
He was really good.
Oh,
He
I
was
enjoyed
excellent.
I enjoyed his Punisher. I thought it was good.
I like him way better than the Thomas Jane and the Ray
Yeah.
Stevens.
I thought
Way better.
actually a pretty good Punisher. I mean, Punisher War Journal, that was pretty hardcore, but yeah.
Yeah, I really love that Punisher series. Like those first 2 seasons. I mean, I guess there were only 2 seasons, but they were so good. They're so good. I was really that, especially that first season, man. I had so many people who were not like Marvel sycophants, like call me or talk to me or ping me and be like friends and family and shit that were just like, this is awesome. It's like, yeah, man, Punisher's sick, dude. And then I immediately pushed him to the movie from like 1986 or whatever.
Talking about Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
He's got the motorcycle in the sewer.
I like the Disney the Netflix shows like Daredevil. I especially like Daredevil, and I think they cast Elodie Young as Elektra was like perfect in that role. I mean, she's a natural martial artist. That's the thing. It wasn't like what's her face, the woman who played Alias, Jennifer
Gardner.
Yeah, it wasn't like Jennifer Gardner in
Did you know who played in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie? Do you know who played Karen Page?
Was Karen Page even in that?
Yes. Briefly. She was played by Ellen, whatever her name is, from Grey's Anatomy. The main character, Meredith Grey from Grey's Anatomy, played Karen Page in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. She was not his love interest. Elektra was. But the girl who played her in the Netflix series was the redhead chick from True Blood, who, hands down, freaking fantastic.
Deborah Ann Woll is her name.
Yeah. Love her in anything she does. So
she's
you do.
a New Yorker.
Yep.
So, Andrew, was that the last thing you picked up?
Yes. I got a couple more on their way to me, but yeah.
Welcome, Joel. I'm glad you got the audience. It happens to me all the time with Bluetooth, man. Like your system connects to some random thing. Like mine, my phone, like no matter what happens, the phone automatically connects to the car. No matter what I do, dude, I can't fucking stand it. I'm like, why is this? Let me opt out. Can I opt out? And I turn it off. I disconnect it, everything, and it just like the next time I come in that car, it just hooks right up, and it's like blasting some bullshit. Oh my god, so annoying.
It's very annoying, especially when you're on a business call and like my wife would pull into the driveway and connect to her car, and I'd be like, "What the hell happened?"
Yeah. Like I get that with Melissa's podcasts. Like I'll pull into the garage, and all of a sudden, like the speaker will turn on, and it'll be playing some random podcast, except it's something that she was listening to inside.
Yeah. That happens to me too, but it's like because my wife's Russian, right? So I'll like turn on the car, and all of a sudden be like, like this guy was like, what the fuck is going on?
Vladimir. I'm trying to think of a tasteful Vladimir Putin joke, but
I was just gonna say Wolverines.
I had
That's
a
good one. I
I
haven't watched that forever, man.
had a really weird dream last night, and I remembered it because it. You ever have one of those dreams where you just keep having the same scene over and over and over, so that when you wake up, you actually remember it?
Yeah.
It was a very weird dream, and I don't know what the meaning of it was, but it was you, me, and Melissa at your wedding. The three of us were together, and we were in like a back room or something.
Wait a minute now.
And she was having a problem because the ring you had bought her was too big for her finger and kept slipping off. So the plan was during the wedding, you were going to put the ring on her finger, but then before you guys went over to the reception, she needed to do something with the ring so she wouldn't lose it. And her plan was to tie it on to her wedding dress. There was like a sash or something, and she was going to tie it on. And I said, no, don't do that, because at some point the wedding dress is going to come off. You're going to forget that the ring is on the thing, and you're going to lose it. And for some reason, I had a gold chain around my neck, which is something I've never worn, a gold chain. So I gave her the gold chain so that after the ceremony, she could put the ring on the chain so that when we went to the reception, everybody was dancing around, she wouldn't lose the ring.
Why are you dreaming about my wife?
That was the whole no, it was you and her. We were both having a conversation about how to not lose the wedding ring. And for some reason, I had a gold chain around my neck, and I offered that to you guys.
Like the
You're just
Mercedes.
coming up to my wife with a gold chain, being like, "Nah, baby, here."
I did, but it was so weird. I was like trying to figure out.
No, what's weird is the whole size, and you saying that the ring was too big for her finger and kept slipping out. Yeah, it got weird at that point for me. Like,
Very, very.
So it was just a really weird dream. But
did you offer Todd's wife a bigger finger?
No.
Well played, sir.
No matter how hard you try, everything always comes back down to a dick joke.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
It's not what you think.
It's not what you think. Hey, I just want to say, I'm gonna total sidebar, but this week, so I've been doing daily pages here, like writing the comic script here, like kind of warming up. I just want to show. Look at this. Like this is how I write my scripts, like actual like pages, right?
You gotta put you on the main screen, big screen,
Oh yeah.
big screen yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself big.
There you go. Boom. So just want to show. So I've been doing these pages, right? I mean, they're just like, really like, these aren't character designs. They're not final characters. They're not final shots.
Is that me?
Maybe.
Definitely looks like me.
Maybe. But you can basically, what I've been doing is I've been averaging 4 a day. So I do a comic book a week, and that's my goal for 2024. Is basically a full script, more or less, like a full comic every week.
What?
Wait, who's that at the bottom?
Who's that supposed to be at the bottom?
Ramel.
Doesn't
Nah,
look
you got.
me.
Nah, it's too much Caucasian to me. You gotta-
No. They're not. These are not the character designs. This is
Okay.
a visual script, right?
Okay.
It is a visual script, right? It's not. These are not the final shots. These are not the final character designs.
That's the 1990 to 95 Romel.
That is, yeah. So I got.
I haven't had hair like that in going on 20 years. That's definitely angry. Definitely Avery.
Yeah, I guess I'll be there.
Right? So I'll show you. I'll just for the shits of it, I'll show you. Let's see if I have the page. What did I do with my pages from today? Oh yeah, because I gotta ink them up. Because yeah, so this is from this week right here. And so what I've been doing is like I just kind of to get my speed up, I kind of ink the borders and ink the text, and then this weekend I'm going to ink the pages. But let me see if I can.
Hey Todd, while you're doing that, I need something from you.
Hold on. This is for Andrew, real quick.
Is that the dart in my chest?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it seems about right.
There's a story behind that.
Oh, there's definitely a story behind that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was a good story. I'm thinking about the character design, and like at the time that happened, Andrew also had a cast on his arm because I had accidentally broken his wrist. So
yeah, we talked about that the other night during our live stream Saturday. Somebody was talking about how they broke their finger. They think they broke their finger. So part of the conversation all night long was talking about who had broken bones in their body. And I told the story of how I broke the bone in my hand is because you and I were wrestling in your house, and how later when my parents asked what happened, I lied and told them it happened out in the front yard and not inside the house because that could cause some problems.
Liability. Yeah, Andrew kept saying like, you know, I was like, just, I can't remember how like we were wrestling and like he landed wrong, and then he was like, oh my hand hurts. And so, of course, I was like, oh, yeah? And so I grabbed his hand to start wrenching it, you know? Like, I'm just poor dude's broken arm.
No, actually, he threw me down again a second time right on the same hand. It's like, mother.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, yeah, my goal for 2024 is like 20 pages a week of script. I usually get that done before noon. So, like, I wake up and I take the kids to school and do all that stuff, and I come back, and then like up until noon, I'm just drawing the pages, getting my script out, and then the rest of the day is like adult fantasy. I mean, this is adult fantasy too, but more like business stuff. And so I'll probably keep doing the sketches until the books are done, and then it'll move into my afternoons where I can start to like fix the story, do an actual second draft, because this is just like. What I'm doing right now is like a shitty first draft. Like I'm not thinking about it. I'm just like, okay, next shot is this, next scene is that. Like just straight aheading it and going trying to get through the story. The problem I'm having with that one is like I don't know, like it's the adventure is basically like going to a big convention to like get discovered and like calamity, you know, like hilarity ensues, and I'm not sure like if like I'm having. It's the stuff that is from real life is pretty funny. It's actually like really fucking funny to me anyway. And I think it's making for a good book. And when we go on to the adventure and the convention side, like part of me is tempted to still pull from like real life, and then part of me is tempted to like insert gangsters and strippers and like I mean some of that could be real life too, but you know what I mean, like ninjas. Like I don't know how like if midway it switches from like more of like the setup is from our real childhood kind of a thing, and then the follow through is like completely made up, you know, or if it's like all kind of pulled from like real stories. I'm not really sure yet, but
I told you how to set the whole thing up and make it work.
I don't remember
this conversation.
We'll have to have it again because I do not remember. We can talk. You tell me now or you tell me later.
I only give my ideas away for free once. Then you got to pay.
Oh, please. Your ideas for free. Anyway, so working on that. So we'll see. I don't know. And man, but a lot of books this year. We've actually been thinking about. I'll just talk about it here, but like we've actually going off of what Ramel said about what would you call it? It was called Captain Fall.
Oh yeah, Captain Fall on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah, like so this is not a promise, it's not a guarantee, but we have been talking about maybe starting a YouTube channel that is like an old school Adult Swim show. That's like an actual YouTube channel that's animated. So
Yeah.
I'm really thinking about it.
Speaking of animation, have you seen the new show, the Amazon show that's getting talked about? Has Been Hotel?
Oh yeah, well that's a YouTube show.
Yeah, I know, but it's done through Amazon, so
No, well it's no. They're a bunch of NYU kids. They started a YouTube channel. They have like 9 million subscribers, and they actually have an animated YouTube show. Like it's fully animated. Like they actually do a full production, and they got so big that Amazon came and now they're doing an original spin-off that's going to be on Amazon. Yeah, it's going to be huge.
well, I saw I watched the pilot episode.
Yeah.
And other than the cursing and some of the language and some of the content, I thought the animation was freaking awesome.
Yeah, the animation's spectacular.
Yeah, so
that's kind of how I felt too. Like I watched it and I was like, well, the story's not that good. The writing is kind of crap. The curse words, at least on the YouTube show, are like way over the top and they don't make any sense. Like they're just doing it to do it. You know, and then there's like a lot of like agenda politics stuff in there that I'm like, well, whatever about. Like it doesn't add to the story, so I'm like, why do it? But that was like, well, I don't like any of it except the animation's drop dead gorgeous and like absolutely top notch. Like they really know how to animate really well, which is great to see.
Yeah, I really like a lot of the character designs, and it was interesting from a standpoint of creators like us, you know.
Yeah, what I'm kind of leaning towards or thinking about is like, do you guys remember Cartoon Planet or Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking is like simple shots, old school Cartoon Network, like, you know, like either done as like a talk show format or something kind of similar, or skits, like talk show combined with skits. I'm not really sure yet. But straight up, just basically like using YouTube and trend jacking whatever people are talking about for the week and making a show, kind of like a South Park approach. Like one of the reasons South Park is still relevant is because A, they can pump out shows, but B, because they actually do research and find out what people are talking about that week. Mm-hmm. And then they put it on, and like because it's what people were talking about, like people talk about it, and then they find out that they're going to be doing it on South Park, and then they watch the South Park episode because they're talking, like it leads into it. And so I'm like, well, it's fucking brilliant, and it works. And so it's like, well, why it's so hard coming up with new show topics and new show ideas, especially if you're going to do a weekly or bi-weekly thing. Right. Why not just take it from what people are already talking about and just like do a spin on it, you know?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So basically, like, for example, like one big thing a lot of people was talking about, especially me, was that one case that was in that went to court in Las Vegas where the guy jumped over the judge's bench.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Or like we were just talking about Kanye with his teeth, right? Like if that was trending, which I assume it is, you have the characters on the shows like they replace their teeth. Like one replaces his teeth. Another one is like replacing his arm. Another one is replacing her tits or something, like whatever. Like they're just replacing body parts. You know, like they're just like one up in Kanye and be like, this cost me $15 million, and it's like a titanium chest or something. You know?
Yeah.
No, but speaking of the guy in Las Vegas, did you see all the charges he got when he went back to court?
No. Well, I remember he said he did it because he had a bad day.
Oh my God, dude. It got worse. Considerably worse.
Well,
One of his charges is like, I think, attempted murder.
Oh, well, yeah, he tried to
Yeah,
kill the
yeah.
judge.
Well, not necessarily tried to kill the judge, but basically his reaction was an attempt to harm or great bodily injury or resulting in death or something because she was above a certain age. But everything they could possibly throw at him, they threw the fucking book.
Yeah, you would have to assume that that's what would happen if you attack a judge.
Oh yeah, when he went, it wasn't the same judge he went back. He went back to. It was a different judge. But I mean, that judge is like she took that shit personal, and he had like 4 guys around him. So if he even scratched his nose wrong,
He's
he was
like
gonna have his face.
sitting there like fully strapped.
Well, they did. It wasn't quite like Hannibal Lecter, which I thought, and that could be in the cartoon. But yeah, that guy was covered at every angle.
Yeah, they did though. They had the mask on him though. I saw the picture where they carted him back in. I thought
Did they really put a mask on him?
I swear to God, they did. Yeah.
Well, one I seen, he didn't have a mask when he was actually talking to the judge.
Oh, maybe it was just like one of those things where like articles like has a topic about like, you know, volcano on island lands, and then like it auto searches some picture and it's like, you know, something tropical and people dancing on a beach. You know, it's always like mismatched, right? I hate that. It's so annoying.
Did he like try to bite her or something? Is that why they put the mask on him?
They just do that with anyone with potentially violent, weird stuff.
One of the charges was something about bodily fluid or something like that. I don't know what he did, but something involving body fluid. Like, really?
Oh,
yeah, that's a charge. Like spitting.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a real charge. If you spit at somebody, that's basically a felony.
Yeah. You could be transmitting disease or whatever.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, don't attack a judge. That's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what he went there for is nothing compared to the charge he came away with, bro. I've had bad days, but I've never done that.
Yeah, we've all had bad days. You don't usually like.
No, but I mean, I've had bad days in court. I've had bad days in court.
Oh yeah.
I had funny story and very true. I was in court one time and this lady, I guess her son was supposed to be in court, and he wasn't there, but the mother was there. So the judge was trying to tell the mother, like, no, you're not supposed to be in court representing your son. Your son needs to be in court. And she's just going back and forth with the judge till finally, you know, they sent her into the back or whatever. And so, no lie, the judge just sits on his bench, court full. He's sitting on the bench with his hands in his head. And I mean, you can hear a rat pissing on cotton. And he does this for, I want to say, about maybe 4 minutes. Dead silence. He lifts his head. First name he called, Romel Davis.
Yeah.
I shit you not.
Yeah, man. You know you're having a problem then, dude.
Yeah,
so
so
at that point, are you just like, yes, sir, I'm sorry, having a bad day, sir?
well, it gets even funnier than that because when I went and I'm trying to explain shit, but I'm trying not to cut him off, so I was like, don't say that. So I got sentenced to 10 days because I was trying not to argue with him, but I appealed it and I was able to kind of argue my case a little bit better because he was in a better mood, and I got off.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I got 10 days just because the person in front of me pissed off the judge.
I had the opposite. Like I had good luck. I remember what I was in court for.
That's so racist.
Yeah. Really?
Well, like,
Tom, what were you in court for?
It wasn't for anything big, dude. It was like I'm a good kid. I didn't do shit. Like, I don't know. It was like speeding. I don't know, some bullshit. Like I don't know. I had gotten a lot of speeding tickets in college and shit, so it's probably something like that. And like, the guy before me was being a real.
Was it the one in Georgia where they wouldn't let you leave?
No, that was a different time. Yeah,
Okay.
I was in I got a speeding ticket in Georgia. Was it Georgia? I think it was still in Georgia, in some dank podunk town, and the cop took my license and had me follow him back to the jail, and then like wouldn't let me leave. Basically, they wouldn't give me my license back until I paid the $300 bill. And I was like, I don't have $300. They were like, well, you're going to stay here for a while then. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, are you fucking kidding me? And they
wouldn't just write him a ticket.
No, they didn't write me a ticket. I had to follow him, like follow him back to the jail.
That is that is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, I should have probably done that, but it was like, I don't know. I feel like that was maybe like reverse racism, because it's like, oh, white kid must have money or something. I'm like, well, I mean, dude was white. There's no reason. There's some podunk redneck town, but like, I was like, really? Like, I've never even heard of like taking someone's license and requesting that you're just gonna follow them back to the jail. Like, okay. And they had me sit there for
wasn't part of it the fact that the ticket was so much that they weren't going to let you go until it got paid?
They weren't going to
let you skip out on it. Yeah, they weren't going to let you skip out on it.
Yeah, it was just $300, and I was like
$300 ain't shit. I've had way higher tickets than that.
That's what I'm saying. But I was like, maybe for the town, it was their whole fucking month's, cash supply. I don't fucking know.
The last,
like, but yeah, like I was in court, and the guy before me was a real dick, like real asshole. And I had the benefit of growing up. My grandfather was a lawyer, and so I kind of knew like how to dress and all that. Like, I had a super benefit. So I went to court. I never wear a suit. You'll never see me in suits are for funerals and like maybe weddings. And like, but I wore a suit. It was like too tight on me or something. And I had long hair at the time, so I had a ponytail or whatever. I just kind of kept it all back to try to make myself look like upstanding citizen. And the guy was such a dick in front of me. That same kind of thing. The judge was actually funny, dude. He was like, you remember Night Court?
Yeah.
Like, this guy was. Do you remember the actor, the judge on Night Court? How he was like a comedian kind of thing, would crack jokes. This guy was like making me die laugh. Like, this judge was like, I was like, this guy, that was his dream. Like, he saw Night Court and was like, I want to be a judge. I can crack jokes on the bed. And so this guy was
Stone was the character.
So what's that?
I don't remember his real name though.
It's Harry. But his name was Harry. Real and
it's Harry T. Stone was the character's name.
Yeah, but his real name was Harry something, wasn't it?
Oh, I think
maybe.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds familiar. But anyway,
Harry
the guy before me, was it?
Yeah.
The guy before me was such a dick, and the judge was kind of cracking jokes on him, and like that guy left, kind of walked off, and I was laughing because the judge was fucking hilarious. And so I got up there and I had a big smile on my face because I had been laughing for like a good 15 minutes, like dealing with it. I was like, holy shit. And like, I saw people like before that guy, there was like another woman who was like trying to explain like a car incident. And she had brought like, no shit, she had brought like Hot Wheels cars and was like trying to show like, and it was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I was dying, dude. And so I got up there and I was like smiling and I was like, he was like, how you doing? You have a smile on your face. I was like, I'm having a good day. This is actually pretty humorous. Like, I said, I never thought I could enjoy court like this, but this is actually pretty funny. And he, and he had a good sense of humor. And I happened to be, no joke, I happened to be the only one wearing a suit. And he was like, see, this gentleman, he made an example. He said, this gentleman knows, he's got a smile on his face. He's come here to do his thing. He showed up. He's wearing a suit. He's happy. He's positive. They called the cop to see if the cop was there because the cop was supposed to show up. Of course, the cop never showed up for the court case. He was like, well, the cop never showed up. You're dismissed. Have fun. Have a good day.
I got a story about that.
Of course you do.
Oh, my God, dude. This is the most royal fucking you could ever imagine in court. So, with my bike, if y'all don't know, I ride a motorcycle, sports bike, very fast. So one particular time, I actually pulled over, and I was in court, and
One time I actually pulled over.
yeah. Well, yeah. So anyway,
Freudian
So-
slip, Dusty. Freudian slip.
anyway, I'm losing my focus. So anyway, I'm in court and I'm looking over at all the cops and I'm looking like, oh, I don't see my cop. So they call my name, like, well, his officer's not here. And so they're like, well, they just sit tight in the back, whatever. So I'm like, oh shit, my cop ain't here. So I'm chilling. I'm thinking I'm good. You know what this bitch did? This bitch had her bailiff go and try and get my cop on the phone to see if he could fucking make it.
No way.
So when all the cases cleared out, they had to go back to the people who didn't have cops that showed up. They let the other two people go. Me, they managed to get my cop on the phone like, hey, you think you made it? Like, no, I'm working an accident right now. I'm like, so what the fuck we gonna do? We working an accident. She made me come back to court.
No way.
I could have opted to say no. I would like to have my speedy trial because he was supposed to be in court. And I was supposed to be in court. If I don't show up, I get a warrant. But if he don't show up, he gets a courtesy call.
Right.
I was so fucking pissed. And the cherry on top of all that was when I did go back to court. Again, mine was the first case. And that cunt bitch, my ticket was $2,500.
Wait, how much?
$2,500. You heard me.
How fast were you going?
Well, the cop
36 to 35, obvious.
Sure.
no. He said I was doing 150.
And
But
a
I
20
was-
in a school zone.
No, I was. If you remember the Dames Point Bridge,
Yeah.
I was still over that, and he said I was doing
150 over the Dames Point Bridge?
I wasn't doing 150. I was doing 130. I wasn't doing
okay, well, that's
150.
way better than Romel.
So, and
Small
then,
difference. Small difference.
yeah, big difference. But the thing
You live
was,
at like 45, right?
well, yeah. So I didn't see the cop when he rolled up on me. I was like, fuck, too late to run. So,
Too late to run.
yeah, it was too late to run because I didn't see him. I didn't see him. So he rolls up on him. He's like, the only reason why I'm not taking you to jail because you pulled over. Bitch. The only way we having a conversation is I pulled over. If I'd have signed the fucking run, or I'd have saved me a bunch of money on my car insurance by hauling ass. like he's doing me a favor. Bitch, I did you the favor. Cause you wasn't finna fucking catch me. No, cause you know where I live on the west
I'm so
side.
glad you're a free man, Romel. Holy shit.
Yeah. No. The thing is, okay, just don't be a dick about it. Because
Yeah.
one particular time, the cops had got behind me and a friend of mine, and I was on 295, and shit, I got to Georgia before he did. I spent the night in Georgia. I shit you not.
I bet. I love it, man. Just, God damn it, Romel. Just be safe, would you? Fuck.
Kind of reminds me of the two times I got called into jury duty. Actually, first time was in Connecticut. This is this is like literally like 3 weeks after 9/11, and so I was called in. Apparently, this old lady, was exiting a church in Norwalk, Connecticut, and she fell and she broke her hip. She was suing the church because she claimed that the paving stones were uneven. And so I get there, I sit down, they're selecting. I see it. Oh, see you, Doc.
Doc, you leaving, buddy?
Yeah, I'm being called home. My kid's being a wild ass.
Oh, no worries, man.
Yeah.
Have a good
All
night.
right.
Happy Friday, brother.
Yeah, happy Friday, guys. Sorry, I got a jet. See you later.
So I get called in, and I sit down, and they're basically it's like a Mickey Mouse lawsuit against the church, the same church that my late father was actually baptized at, like back in like 1943. But So the attorney for the church like comes in, asks me a few questions, sits down, he's satisfied. The attorney for the plaintiff gets up and goes into this long-winded speech about 9/11 and the duties that we owe to the nation, and how serving on jury duties is akin to like serving your country. And I'm resisting the urge to like look at my watch, thinking, is there a point here? I mean, I really got to go to the bathroom, dude. And like the judge, like I said, the judge is like kind of like staring at this guy open mouth, like thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? So I finally say, are there any questions? Then he asked about the church. Then he asked me, says, so are you familiar with the church in question? Oh yeah, that's where my dad was baptized, many years ago. Oh, get the hell out of here. Well, the word's out of effect. And that's jury duty for like 8 years. Then I moved to the city. Like my third year there, I got called into like jury duty in Brooklyn. And it's totally different experience than a small town in Connecticut. It's like there's like a couple hundred people bringing in every day. Pretty much anybody who couldn't figure out a way to get out of it shows up. So that kind of tells you like that kind of gives you an idea of the efficiency of our legal system. So I go there, I sit down, and I get called in for a criminal case. And this guy, it was like this guy shot this other guy in a housing project over some drug deal. He was all dressed up in a new suit and all that. I think they have a budget for that, the public defender's office. And the judge starts going through they start going through us one by one, and I swear, this one woman, she looked like like a typical left wing activist. She had like pink hair and all that. They asked, "Is there any reason why you can't serve on the jury?" And she says, "Yes, I believe." She goes to a long spiel about how she basically thinks cops are a bunch of bastards. Okay. The judge doesn't even blink an eye, and he says, "Okay, we'll find you a nice civil case to sit down on." And she's dismissed. I'm thinking, God damn. Why didn't I think of that?
Jeez. Wait, she got to say she got out of it because like she doesn't like cops? I don't understand.
She basically went through a long spiel about how the criminal justice system is corrupt and so on and so forth. She may believe this, she may not. I mean, she looked the type. But I'm thinking at the time, maybe she believes it, but if she doesn't, that's fucking brilliant. All you gotta do. Yeah, just go up there.
Does that work, Ramel, if you go in and talk about how the justice system is corrupt and shit?
I've heard, I could go in and say that I'm a member of All Lives Matter, and I bet you I'll be disqualified.
Yeah. Well, no, in this case, it was disqualified by the prosecution. Fortunately, I didn't get called in, which was nice because I couldn't have afforded it. And I got to spend. I basically got an unpaid day off sitting in the Brooklyn in the courthouse in Brooklyn, which is actually surprisingly very, very clean. I was surprised. I thought it'd be like a den of inequity, but no, it's just a typical office building. But I'm walking away thinking, next time I get called in, I'm gonna show up with pink hair. And and a hammer and sickle, like a red hammer and sickle on my shirt, and just proceed every sentence with "Death to America."
Yeah, and then you'll probably get the judge. It's like got the American.
Yeah, you might end up on a watch list somewhere.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that'll get you selected. They'll make you stay.
No, get your shirt with Che Guevara on it, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's kind of trite now. Like like you see sorority girls like wearing that, so I don't think that really counts anymore. Maybe maybe Osama bin Laden, but that.
There you go.
Actually, in Florida, they would probably load me to the back of into the trunk of a police car, drive me out to a swamp somewhere, and I'd never be seen again.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, look, man, when I moved down here from the city, I remember I was, Todd and I were going out for we're going out for a drink. It was like my farewell party. We were out with our friend, Matt Jordan, and Matt was like, couldn't shut about, how he expected me to basically turn into like a giant meth head Florida man. And they expected to see me riding down a highway in the back of a pickup truck with like a rifle and with an AK-47 in one hand and an American flag in another, while tweaked out of my head. Which I remember the time thinking, well, if I'm in the back of the truck and it's going like 60 miles an hour, like 90 miles an hour, who's driving? I don't think Matt was really drunk at that point, so I didn't belabor him. But no, I mean, look, man, they got people up north have some very weird ideas about people in Florida. I mean, my dad actually believed in all seriousness that I was dodging shootouts in the street on my way to the supermarket. And I had to explain to him, Dad, I've been down there like a year. I've never seen that. I've never seen a gun in public once. And I've been looking.
Well, that's because everybody packs, and it's all concealed carry, right?
Yeah,
I was at Whataburger this evening picking up dinner, and the guy ahead of me was having a conversation with the employee, and they were talking about him being from New York. And he turns to the girl and he actually says, "You know what? I think it's actually safer in New York than it is here in Jacksonville." And all I could think to myself is, obviously, you are a crackhead.
Oh man.
So how far is Jacksonville from the border with Georgia?
Well, it's about, I want to say if you drive maybe
150 miles per hour. How long does it take you to get there?
Oh, it takes no time at all.
Yeah.
Trust me, because I was every bit of that. But I say from where I live, Georgia's probably like 30 minutes.
Oh.
That's speed limit. But on my bike, I can make that shit in like 15.
No, another thing I'm trying to get used to down here is that I will never figure out these crazy Southern football rivalries. So I'm helping out. I'm helping out my church, and one of the guys, the guy I'm working with, he's an older fellow. He's like a hardcore Florida Gators fan. He graduated from college in like the 70s.
Yeah.
Game, and he looked really glum, and he's hating like the new like NIL thing because in his view, the fact that kids can be paid now to play is ruining college sports. He's a nice guy, but I didn't want to get into it, but. I don't know. I mean, like I said,
I disagree on that. I mean,
he's a nice guy. He's just an old school dude. Yeah, but maybe you can explain to me what I mean. Look, I've got two clients who are operating in that space right now. You know, like one of them's like starting up an NIL agency, and the other one's like they run a network. It's a gold rush. I mean, there's no regulation, not really. Except on a state by state level, and that's pretty ad hoc. You know, every time every time the transport portal opens up, it's basically like musical chairs.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the reason why Nick Saban retired.
Was that?
That's the reason why Nick Saban retired. As quiet as it's kept.
Yeah. Isn't that what Deion Sanders said? Apparently, that's
yeah.
Coach Prime. Gotta love him.
Yep.
But no, like I said, I mean, I just don't get these weird like Kings versus Gators versus Seminoles.
Well, yeah, that's all college related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
College is a big deal in Florida.
Yeah, real big deal. Like the big three is either going to be Florida State, Miami, or Florida. So
what about FAU, like Florida Atlantic?
Yeah, they don't have a real big following. I mean, you have people that follow them, but not as big as those big three. There's like the three big heads of Florida so far as in college football.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny though? I find about the whole NIL thing is that if you look at the women who are making the most money about that, it's like people like Libby Dunn, and a few others, who basically like intersperse like pictures of them in their athletic uniform with pictures of them in bathing suits. Whereas the biggest male guys are like just regular athletes. So that tells you all you need to know about the human species.
Yeah. Did you see that one thing? It was I forgot. It's a radio host. and he made a real big issue about women's basketball, and well, he didn't make an issue, but he made a point. He made a point is like there's a pay discrepancy between how much the males get paid and how much the females get paid.
Right.
So, and it's been going back and forth for some time. So he's like, look, he was saying that women are nowhere near the athletes that men are, and it's kind of true. So he got some heat for that, and so he said, okay. He called them out. He said, "I'll tell you what, you take the I think it's the women's basketball, the Aces, whoever won the national championship. I don't think a lot of people know. I don't know, but anyway, the girls that won the national championship. He said, I'll tell you what, if you take them and you take the high school basketball team of my choice and play the girls." He said, I will give you $1 million. I will give $1 million to the winner. And that's more money that you would make during your entire season of basketball just to play these guys.
Well, that actually happened with there was a there was a famous match between like the American women's national football team, and they squared off against like the American, like the U.S. under 16 squad, basically like the national squad for anyone under the age of 16, and against the women's national football team, and the boys' side like won by a lot.
Yeah,
it was there was the Rapinoe, the Olympic soccer U.S. women's soccer team.
Yeah,
I heard about that, but I thought the ones they played were all retired players.
No, they played a group of high school kids.
They also played some retired players as well.
They lost to retired players as well.
15-0. Yeah, it was the Wrexham team from what's his name, the guy that plays Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing though, is I mean, granted, this was before they won they started winning the World Cup. So if they ran that again, I don't know, maybe the result would be different. But
no.
But yeah, I mean, all right, well, the funny thing is though is that I'm probably like one of like only 5 guys in America who are still subscribing to Peacock.
Oh, God.
I have Peacock.
Oh well, then you're like the second guy in America probably. So
yeah.
So I'm watching it because that old show Las Vegas, like with Josh Duhamel and James Caan from like early 2004 is on, and I always liked that show. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, I can't believe this show premiered 20 years ago. But anyway, point is that the thing about Peacock is that even if you're paying a subscription, you still have to watch ads,
which I don't understand.
Well, so like one ad, I'm watching it. It's for like apparently there's now like a national flag football federation being formed, like a professional flag football, and they had an ad for it, and it was like a bunch of people. You know how when people are doing like ads, they act like they're in like rapper rock star videos, like all like kind of like holding up their hands, looking really tough and mean, like throwing a pose.
Yeah.
Well, it was like that, but it was people weren't. It was like half of them were girls, and half of them were women, and they're all wearing flag football belts. And I'm sorry, I mean, I get that football is a dangerous sport. I get that concussions are a thing. Like my high school actually had to get rid of its football program because they couldn't get enough players. I mean, I went to a very very small school, so it was going to happen, but. It got to the point where they couldn't field like a full squad anymore, so they just canceled the program. But flag football, I don't see the appeal. Maybe I'm just old.
Yeah, that's too like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's too soft.
It's too soft. Yeah, it's just too soft.
Now I tell you one thing that I could really get behind. Originally, when it first came out, it was called lingerie football.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Legends Football League, and they don't have.
I vaguely remember the lingerie one. Yeah.
Well, when it turned into Legends, I went to a game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, do tell.
Yes, I did.
Do tell.
Oh no, I can't remember the other teams, but I remember one team was from Atlanta. God damn, it's like a whole team full of fucking strippers.
Yep.
It probably
And
were.
they were actually playing football. I mean, they ran some plays, reverses, read options. I was like, okay. And they was hitting too.
Lingerie too. So there you go.
There's a theory going around that if Donald Trump had been allowed to buy a team in the XFL when it first came out, he may not have run for president.
Oh yeah, probably.
No,
XFL was cool, man. When XFL was out, I was really rooting for it.
Yeah. I know they restarted. I think they rebooted it. It's still around. I mean, the first time around, it didn't even last the full season.
Yeah, because the thing was, the local sports coverage wouldn't cover it. So therefore, it's like if they don't cover it, nobody. There's actually no revenue in it, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know, man. Look, have you heard like that? Sports Illustrated might be finally shutting down.
Yeah, they fired their entire staff the other day.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, apparently the people who are actually writing this, there's the company that's actually writing this stuff. Like they have a licensing agreement and they fail to make a payment. So the company that holds the rights to it, they just fired their entire staff. I mean, they'll probably still put out the swimsuit issue because that's like basically the only thing they have that still sells. But
yeah.
Although I don't really get that because people have the internet now, and there's all the poon you want on the internet.
Right about that. So
quite a lot of stuff that you don't really want, and once you see it, you can never unsee it.
I'm pretty sure magazines like Playboy, Hustler, and the lesser adult magazines will eventually fade out in the next 20 years.
Well, no, there was an attempt to like reboot, to like kind of bring back Playboy. So like
Playboy went somewhere?
Well, Hugh Hefner's son took over after his dad died, and he basically tried to like reinvent Playboy as kind of like a more upscale Maxim magazine.
Yeah.
But it didn't really work. I mean, they basically picked a lot of like hipster chicks.
I thought it was his daughter that took over, not his son.
I think his son was involved. I mean, I know his son was the public face of it.
Oh.
I mean,
Thought it was. I thought I had heard it was the daughter, and she's the one that took the nudes out of it.
Yeah, that's
what?
Yeah. There was no more nudes. It was like it was like a more upscale Maxim. Like a lot of lingerie shots, but.
Man,
This is like the dumbest thing ever. Like,
it didn't. Apparently, it didn't do very well.
You think?
I don't know, man. Look, because I remember. Hey, because Drew, remember those comics I sold you? I think there might have been like a few issues of like old issues of Maxim and stuff in there. I don't know if you saw.
Honestly, I don't remember.
But yeah, I mean, like late '90s, early 2000s, golden age of the lad mags. Maxim stuff, loaded, FHM. You'd walk into the Barnes and Noble, and it'd be right there, in all their glory.
Took the nudes out of Playboy. I mean, Playboy's been around for what, like
1950 something.
Well, if you take the news out of Playboy, what do you have? It's not Playboy. Like, it's literally what made the magazine.
Well,
yeah, Maxim.
People do read the articles.
Well, yeah, it's one thing. They started putting more articles in, but oddly enough, I'm one of the few people that actually read an article in Playboy and was actually intrigued by it.
He read an article. He read an article.
Yeah, I read an article. It was about the serial killer Gary Ridgway. That's what I know Green River Killer is.
Well, I mean, back in the day, they had some serious writers working at it. James Baldwin, wrote articles in Playboy. They interviewed Martin Luther King in Playboy, believe it or not. Hugh Hefner was, for a brief period, like one of the most, he's one of the few publishers in America who was willing to take risks on a lot, on a lot of really edgy stuff. Of course, this is like back in the 60s and 70s, and then of course by the time the 80s and 90s came around, he was just kind of like a dirty old man. I mean, there's all kinds of weird stories coming out about that place now.
Like any other Hollywood thing, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine there's any stories of sexual harassment. I mean, you're working at the Playboy fucking mansion.
Yeah, right.
Well, the story I heard was this is actually you remember that VJ Kennedy, back in the 90s? Yeah, she's like a Fox News pundit.
Oh yeah. She had glasses and curly hair.
Yeah, well, she's like a hardcore libertarian, and she's like a Fox News pundit now. She has been for years, but she wrote an autobiography about her years as an MTV VJ back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And on one of her trips, she got to visit the Playboy Mansion. And she hung out with all the beach bunnies, all the bunnies, and she had dinner with them. And dinner with them was literally like a guy showing up, and she says, I quote, "No, it might have been her, actually, or it might have been her, or it might have been like Gavin McGinnis." Because I read his autobiography as well before he went really off the deep end. But so whoever it was whose autobiography I read and whose name I can't remember anymore because my brain's turning to mush. So they're sitting in the Playboy, and he's hanging out with the center, the playmates, and they're all wearing jeans and sweaters, not like. And so he's gonna have dinner with them, and Hef, he's paying for dinner. His dinner is shows up in a giant garbage can full of Kentucky Fried Chicken, like a garbage can. I quote, filled with fresh Kentucky Fried Chicken. And the playmates basically ate out of it, literally eating out of a garbage can. Fried chicken out of a garbage can.
That ain't no fun.
And that kind of ruins the fantasy, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
What your fantasy is.
I don't know.
I mean, my fantasy of the Playboy Mansion is like you just walk in and they having pillow fights 24/7.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to be careful of that though, because you fling a pillow hard enough, you can actually concuss somebody. I speak from personal experience on this.
Sounds like a story behind that.
No, it's just me horsing around with some friends. And it wasn't because I just kind of saw stars, but
that's the story. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. I mean, if I had any crazy sex stories, you guys would be the last to know, because I'm a firm believer in the old story, in the old adage that a gentleman never discusses such things when a lady.
Shit.
Unless
Romel lives by the same rules.
No, the fuck I don't.
Just the opposite.
Unless there's money involved, in which case I will not only tell details, I'll make shit up to make it sound even more salacious. That's like I said, when 10 years from now, when you're a billionaire, be prepared for stories about weird animal sex and followed by blood sacrifices, and then animal sex on the blood sacrifice.
Oh shit! If I win
with the sacrifice
anywhere north of $50 million, I'm gonna have a couple of stories to tell, some graphic stories to tell, and video footage.
And Zach and Romel don't get kicked.
What was that you said, Dusty?
I mean, you did open the evening, Zach. You did open the evening talking about the manatees that you enjoyed watching. So
I didn't say I enjoyed watching.
We're just coming full circle at this point.
Yeah. I didn't say I enjoyed watching them. I just thought it was interesting.
No, you loved watching them.
From kind of like a nature documentary style of thing, you know.
What I heard explicitly was manatee astroglide.
Well,
So Ryan Kilmeade was interviewing a guy this morning who wrote a book about things that we can learn from the animal world.
What?
And he brought up some examples, and one of the examples was he was on safari with somebody, and they were looking at elephants, and the guy commented that elephants, they're out in the sun all day long. I wonder how often they get skin cancer. You know, like a human in the sun would get skin cancer after being out in the sun for many, many years and so forth. Come to find out that humans have a single gene, it's P something or other, that actually fights infections in our body. We have one strand of this gene. Elephants have over 20 strands of this gene, which means their bodies are constantly fighting infections, including cancers. Elephants in the wild do not suffer from cancer, especially skin cancer and so forth, because of that those extra strands of this particular gene that they have. The other thing the guy wrote about and was about raising children, and he spoke with Jane Goodall and other people that study gorillas, large apes, and come to find out that there's 3 different types of parents in those communities. There's the ones that allow the children to just run around and do whatever they want. So they'll run up trees and they'll fall, they'll break their leg, and they won't last. They won't last very long at all. Then there's the other parents who will not let their children go anywhere near, you know, they won't let them run up a tree. They grab them and they immediately grab them in order to protect them. And they said the first group, those children normally don't live very long. The second group, those children are followers. They are not very strong at all. And then they describe the third group, in which the parent will keep an eye on the child, the gorilla child, but if they get into danger, we'll go and rescue them and keep them from major bodily damage, where the first one would just let them go do whatever they want. And he says those offspring tend to be the leaders of the packs. And so what he was saying is that there's 3 different types of parents in the gorilla community, and it's a reflection on what humans could do in order to raise their children. You know, you don't want to be too free with the children. You don't want to be overly protective of the children, but you want to be somewhere in the middle. And to be honest with you, the guy's publishing a book, and I'm interested in getting the book and finding out more about it. There's got to be a section in there on manatee sex, so I really am interested in finding out about that. But the other stuff was rather fascinating. One of the other things. I listened to 3 examples. Rhinoceroses, even though they're big, huge, and bulky, do not suffer from arthritis. And one of the reasons scientists have found is that when a rhinoceros charges, it always goes straight forward. It doesn't zigzag. You know, like we have a lot of in the human world, we have a lot of athletes who, you know, juke and it leads to breaking legs, breaking knees, and so forth. Whereas a rhinoceros runs straight ahead. They don't deviate from that. And the whole idea of the book is what humans can learn from the animal population, what we can learn through their history and their way they do things. It's just super, super fascinating. And I'm fairly certain the other one was about dolphins. Do you know dolphins can suffer from Alzheimer's?
Really?
They've actually done studies on dolphins who have passed away, and they autopsied their brains and found out that they had the genes for Alzheimer's. And what they found was that these dolphins tend to not swim in packs, become loners, and go out on their own. And the whole idea is that humans who suffer from those genes would do better if they had a close connection to people around them. It's when they're by themselves and they live by themselves and they're away from people that they suffer the worst because of it. But dolphins can actually get Alzheimer's.
Fascinating. That's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a book that's coming out?
Yep. Well, the other controversy was the scientist who wrote the book had a co-writer, a lady co-writer that was working on the book. Come to find out that she had plagiarized some of her sections, and they found out about it before the book went to print, and he went in and corrected or changed everything that she had written because she had, I guess, had taken some sentences from other sources and did not give them any attributes. Come to find out she had done this on many, many, many books. And that's the reason why Kilmeade was talking to the guy. It was because of this controversy, but he was curious about what the actual subject matter of the book was.
Mm.
So, yeah, you know.
Was she by perchance moonlighting as president of Harvard?
Oh, you never know. Probably could be.
Yeah, you never know nowadays.
But anybody out there still listening, you might have just got educated.
Yeah. Well, look, man. I mean, we're living in the you know that old saying, "Fake it till you make it."
Yes.
Well, we're basically living in a world where everyone's faking it and not making it.
Yes.
They're just faking it. They just keep faking it and faking it until finally one day, you know, the lies catch up with you. The money runs out. The scam gets exposed.
And you guys
That's like that one girl recently had that said she got attacked and hit in the face with a fucking brick. Turns out that was a lie. Well, I mean, I knew that was a lie.
Yeah.
Relative to the time she was talking about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's weird though because it's like it's everybody. Everybody's got a hustle nowadays. Everybody's got a scam. Everybody, you like. There's a bunch of videos I like to watch. On the YouTube where by influencers are actually honest. There's this one like Australian like travel influencer who does a video where she shows. You see like a video by this influencer on, she's like going to like Bali or Thailand or talking about like the latest hidden hotel treasure in, Sumatra or whatever. And it turns out like it's all fake. It's like some white girl in a bathing suit like lying at some cut rate motel in like the back of like Jakarta. But you angle the camera. You put in some soft music, and it looks like she's like living the high life. And there's like you also hear stories about all these girls, like these influencers are going to Dubai, and they're all like showing like how awesome Dubai is. And then you start hearing these weird stories about what they have to do off the camera to get comped.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean. It just seems to me that, fake it till you make it. Well, just fake it and keep faking it. And like to get back to comics, I mean, I just think, I'm looking at the state of the American comic industry right now, and I'm like, there's a lot of that going on there because you got a lot of writers who don't know anything about comics, and who basically there to like prove a point, and they're just faking it, and for some reason people are pretending that they're not seeing it. The people are pretending that everything's all right. Like the emperor has no clothes, but no one's yet found the courage to kind of point it out. Like point out that actually no, the comic industry is not doing well. Like basically they're running on the fumes of their past glories, and those fumes have almost dissipated. And what's going to happen when like the air finally clears?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Speaking of faking it till you make it, has anybody been following this drama between Eric July, Ethan Van Sciver, Yellow Flash?
Yeah, what is? Yeah, I heard about that, but I don't know the details.
I'm not
You
100%.
want to talk about it off air? Or you want to talk about it on air? That doesn't matter.
Is anybody here?
No,
Does it matter?
not really.
I mean, what little bit I've been following some of Ethan's. I can't stand to watch some of his 3-hour streams where he spends 90% of the time just taking in money.
Yeah,
and
it's just chats.
Yeah. But I did find it interesting that he's lost a lot of subscribers because people are just getting tired of it.
Did he?
But
Did he lose? I mean, I haven't seen his numbers.
Well, his numbers have been going down, but he even addressed it in one of his most recent live streams. It's like he's making money. If he's losing people, he's making money. It's more important about making the money than anything else for him. So,
well, yeah. I mean, I don't blame him. He's got a family to feed. That's his job.
He's going to cover the drama. Some people just don't want the drama, and honestly, I don't want to see independent creators attacking each other. You know?
Yeah. Well, they're a bunch of bitches.
They're doing it to raise attention, but they have to drag other people down in order to do it. And I don't know.
Well,
I haven't really paid attention, or I haven't gotten the gist on what Yellow Flash has to do with it. I just see the.
Well, you know, it actually has everything. I mean, you actually know. I mean, it has everything to do with Dillard, dude.
I haven't even saw Dillard's name be brought up at all.
It's all about Dillard. The whole thing is about Dillard.
Really?
The whole thing is about Dillard. So just so that Ramel and Zach and Dusty. So Dillard is an artist. He used to hang out with our on your show, right, Andrew? Like on your stream. Super nice guy, and really talented. And he's been working, man. He started as like a newbie artist, and he just said, I'm going to be a comic artist, and he just started grinding, and he's gotten pretty good. Like he's doing books now, and he's pushing, man. He really wants it bad. And anyway, he's the artist on Yellow Flash's book.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so the issue is like, so Yellow Flash started. I mean, from what I can tell, he started shitting on like crowdfunders. Like, you should kind of thrown into the camp of Eric July, where you should have your book done before you do a crowdfunding campaign, so that the books come out on time, right?
Right.
And of course, ego is ego, and so that's kind of a shot at someone like an Ethan Van Sciver, who does a crowdfunding campaign while he's working on the book, right? Anyway, Dillard, basically, Yellow Flash started a war with Ethan out of nowhere. As far as I can tell, because I did actually look at it. Just started saying, I'm like, for no reason as that anyone can tell, just said, I'm not dealing with this guy anymore. He's a slime bag, blah, 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 blah. So it started drama, probably to bring attention to his book, right? So started to like attack and kind of get drama, which puts Dillard in the middle. Well, it turns out Dillard had a flood in his house, and it decimated his entire house over Christmas. And so his whole house is empty, and they had to end up getting a trailer in the backyard. And so his whole family's living in the trailer in the backyard.
Oh,
and his kids didn't even have Christmas. His kids didn't have Christmas. There was like a couple of people that donated a small Christmas tree and a couple of gifts. Like, he lost everything, right? But he's still doing these pages for Yellow Flash. And Ethan went on a fucking tirade. It was like, Yellow Flash, you're attacking me, fucking trying to attack me for whatever reason. Like, meanwhile, like, basically, long story short, is Dillard did a live stream where he was just like this. He was just shooting the shit. And basically the deal is he's not getting paid for the book. He's been working on the book every day for 6 months, and he's not getting paid for it. Instead, the deal that he worked out with Yellow Flash is that he's a, quote, co-owner of it and is getting paid on the back end, like after the crowdfunding campaign comes out.
Right.
Which might not be a bad deal, except the crowdfunding campaign was supposed to come out in October, and it never happened. So basically, Ethan is like, you have 40% of zero because there is no book, because there is no campaign. He said, you could have had the campaign was supposed to go out in October. You could have had the campaign launched in October, had the campaign over in December. Dillard could have had X number of dollars in his pocket by the end of the campaign, the flood would have happened and he would have had the money to have Christmas for his kids. Right. And there's a lot of, and so he's not wrong. You know, I mean, they're both, there's, you know, there are pros and cons and like, so basically you have two camps now where like one side, Eric July's side is like saying that like, what Dillard's doing is ballsy because he's betting on himself and all that. And then you have EVS's side who's saying it's not ballsy. He's basically like doing all the work, like the penciler job, the art job. He's penning and inking it. Like that's like writing a book. It takes like maybe a week. Drawing the book has taken this kid like 6 months plus, and it's not like a 20-page comic. It's like a graphic novel.
Right.
So like it's going to take him a year of his life, and he doesn't get paid for it, and he can't afford anything because he's not working. He's had to turn down other work, like paying work, because he's trying to get this. He thinks it's his shot, and it might be, right? And so Ethan was like, "Why don't you break him off a piece and just pay him a little bit now, and also give him a percentage of the proceeds when it's like, why are you saying?" And then like, yeah, and you know, this also comes because like that guy Yellow Flash has like 500,000 subs, so you know he's making money.
Yeah.
500,000 subs, like the guy's got to be making, I don't know, 10, 20, 30K a month. Like pay Dillard something, give him a couple grand. Like, what are you talking about? Give him a couple $100 for the pages now, and then the rest on the delivery. So that was what the whole thing started. And then it's just after that, it's just like fucking nonsense. Like people, like grown men bitching about dumb shit to get clicks so they can get more super chats, basically.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. I don't understand what the beef between Eric July and EVS is, but they're going hard at each other, and it's like I don't understand why. I listened to Ethan was like watching some videos from Eric July. Some of the things they were saying was Ethan was right. It was nonsense. It was. I don't think the comic book industry is dead and dying. I think it's changing.
Yeah.
And yes, modern comics, a lot of the comics that are coming out now are shit and don't sell well and are horrible stories. And like Marvel and DC are only publishing some of these comics because of the cover collectors, people that buy it only for the cover. Yeah. But that's going to change. It's going to eventually change, you know, but there was a stream with Eric July and some guy Babyface or something. I don't know who this guy is.
Oh yeah, Hill versus Babyface.
They were just crapping all over the comic industry and comic creators that work in the industry. And Ethan's like, you guys are not creators in the industry.
Right.
You have no right to be crapping on people because you've never done it. You've never done what they do. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we're talking comic stuff, so.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
And then there were 4.
Yep. Well, that's true though. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that that Ethan had said, which I agree with him 100%, he's talking about how Eric July has had success selling comics to his fans. He has never had success in which he'd put his comic right on the shelf next to Spider-Man and see which one sells better.
Right.
You know? He's selling directly to his fans, which, yeah, that's a lot of what the independent comic book creators are doing nowadays. They're building a fan base and selling directly to the fans. But he's like, you can't take a dump on Marvel, a company that's been around for many decades, and say their stuff is crap and you're better than them when you've never ever put yourself up against them. Right. You know, you've got an entirely different business model, but you're going to go out there and you're going to say these people suck, these people are shit, they don't know what they're doing, and I kind of agree with Ethan on that. You know, these independent creators that have done nothing but make a comic for their own audience have no idea what it takes to put a comic on the shelf and beat Spider-Man, to beat Batman. You know,
the following is too large.
I don't know about that. Plus, I'm not interested in Isom at all. You know when it first came out, Avery was talking about, supporting, backing the campaign and so forth, independent creator, Comicsgate, so forth. It just didn't look interesting to me at all. So I wasn't there for it because there was nothing there that I wanted. Hell, I didn't support Ethan after the first issue. I didn't buy into issue 2 or 3. It was good. It was nice. I liked the art, but yeah, I'm not going to spend $25 on a comic. If I am, it's going to be slabbed and going to look pretty.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of which,
yes, you look pretty, Romel.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, Todd, what I meant to ask you like super earlier. Remember how you came up with that thing with the story circle? You had that. It's you, the need, the goal, search, find, take, return, and change.
Yep.
Where'd you find that from?
That is Dan Harmon, who is the creator of Rick and Morty and Community. He has he actually wrote. I have it. I can send it to you.
Yeah, what's it called? Because I know it's a certain formula.
That's literally called the story circle. It's literally called the story circle. Let me see if I can find it in my files. I'll send you the actual PDF. I wrote a whole book on it actually. Like, cause I could send you my document. It's like I took it and so a lot of times for me to understand something, I'll actually like write a book on it, like research it and take it further. And so I dissected Die Hard like in every corner of it. And that's kind of how I came up with like my own little version of it. But I'll send you Dan Harmon.
Send me your dissection of it. I'm really like I said, I'm really I got an idea that I'm developing into a story, which I think could be pretty interesting. And at some point when we get a break, I'm going to pitch that out to the group for your insightfulness.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
And I will definitely give each and every participating party writer's credit. Well, creator's credit.
Sure. It is under games. Yeah, here it is.
Now, because what I could do is I could go on Pinterest and look it up, and they'll have a bunch of supporting articles on the very same subject.
Let me all right, I think I just sent you a invite to your email address. So you should have gotten a link to it.
What, in my email?
Yeah.
And speaking of which, not pressing any buttons, but the Zelle thing. Like I said, your number is not registered in Zelle, but the other thing you have in there.
Yeah, so I mean, I just go through my Chase bank account like online, so I can just go into Zelle and like I just find you and just send money.
Are we like no off air? Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably better for off the air. We are still live.
Talking about bank accounts and shit like that.
I didn't drop my bank account number, but
all right, we'll give us a second. We'll go off air and we'll continue. All right. Bye, everybody. We're going to talk about like passwords and wallets and like, seed phrases. So love you guys.
And manatee cocks. And
manatee Astroglide. That's what we've learned for tonight. Manatee Astroglide. All right. Love you guys. See you soon. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Good Lord. What a clusterfuck.
If you're bored on Saturday night around 8 o'clock, join me on the Misfit Corner Scams for our live stream. We have a lot of fun.